recently read about a very moving performance project in which actors and actresses read selections from the war plays of Sophocles to audiences of combat veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan. And it's amazing to see the emotional connection between the words of Sophocles written thousands of years ago and contemporary Americans. Could you comment on that?
Absolutely. There is a reason why classics are classics, and there are classics in every tradition. These are works that just continue to say something fundamental about human experience and to just have a power that readers can't resist. In Greece, with the earliest complete work we have, the earliest work we have is Homer's Iliad from the 8th century BCE. There's a psychologist, Jonathan Shays, who uses reading the Iliad as a way of treating Vietnam veterans who are still trying to work through their experience. He sees it as the great literary treatment of soldiers betrayed by their leaders, and he uses this very, very effectively as not just as a form of therapy, but as giving them a language with which to express an experience that they feel they have in common with Achilles, the hero of the Iliad. And this is just one of the many kinds of power that these texts have still to this day.
I would say one other thing here, which I agree entirely with Tony. I think. We don't mean to say in the book that certain things are entirely timeless. Everything has a history, and we wouldn't expect that the soldiers who hear Sophocles today would react to it the same way that people would have reacted in Sophocles' first audiences. Of course, that's not true. But things, even if they're not timeless, even if we don't experience them in the same way that they were experienced back in the past, they can still speak across time. There's enough in common. There's enough, and part of the challenge in writing this book, part of the fun in writing this book, is to try to seize those commonalities, those threads of continuity that go through the past, recognizing that things change, recognizing that in many ways we live we certainly live in a universe that Sophocles probably would have been largely baffled by, but that presumably he might have been able to see some things in common with us, and we can certainly see enough things there that, again, his work still speaks to us, Shakespeare's work still speaks to us, all the works that we have tried to highlight in the book still speak to us.
One thing I would just add, and I agree with David, is that these works can be used to all kinds of purposes. There is in contemporary Greece a fascist party and organization, Golden Dawn, which claims to be the inheritors of ancient Greece. They want to revive the religion of ancient Greece. They meet and have and they fight with ancient Greek weapons. They wrestle with ancient Greek wrestling. They want to revive ancient Sparta with all of its codes and its terroristic way of keeping order among the population of working people. So the classics can be used to terrible as well as magnificent ends. Aristotle, the great Greek philosopher to whom we owe, for example, our categories for thinking about politics, also came up with the idea that some people are slaves by nature, an idea which was used in the American South in the 19th century to justify the system of African American slavery. As it happens, Aristotle wasn't thinking in racial terms at all. Nonetheless, this is an idea which served absolutely terrible purposes in a different society. So the classics have power, but the power can be used in many different ways.
Absolutely.